An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending the Personnel Policy Manual regarding residency of city employees.
Gail.
Thank you. This ordinance amends the residency requirements within the Personnel Policy Manual. Currently, the residency requirement is that the city administrator, the city clerk, and the majority of the department directors must live within the city limits, and then all other employees have to live within 25 miles and 30 minutes reporting time. What this amendment does is changes the department directors to the majority of the department directors would have to live within 15 miles of the city limits. The reason for this, as you know, we recently did a couple of advertisements for the director of finance position, and we had a number of good candidates have to withdraw because they live just outside the city limits, oftentimes literally within blocks or a mile or two of the city limits, and did not want to have to move into the city limits to take the position. So this requirement, we think this is a really good time to look at this right now, because although we do have 3 department director vacancies, we're not actually actively looking to fill those positions. So we think this is a really good time to take a look at it. The administration committee did vet this issue over a couple of different meetings and have brought forth this amendment, which, as I mentioned, requires most of the department directors would have to live within 15 miles of the corporate boundaries. The exceptions would be the city administrator, the city clerk, the police chief, the fire chief, and the public works director, who would have to live within the city limits. Also, though, within the administration committee, they did discuss the position of public works director, and they were kind of back and forth on that position, and wanted a little bit more information about that, and the opinion of Roger Schwartz, who was our previous public works director. And so after that, the staff recommendation is actually to take the public works director off the list of those who must live within the city limits and put him to the list of those who would have to live within 15 miles of the city limits. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any other questions on 2013-8? Carrie, do you have a question?
Sure. Well, I have a comment on this bill. I know we discussed it at length at 2 meetings at admin, and we thought rather than bring it back to administration again, we would go ahead and bring it to the full council. But I wanted to stress there is not an urgency or a rush to do this. We might find that we'd want to place it on the informal calendar if we do need more discussion, but we wanted to at least get it to the full council. I know there was a couple positions that we were not sure of, I think mainly public works, and there was a little discussion after the meeting about possibly even city councilor or those kind of positions. So we may, over the next 2 weeks before we vote on it, if anyone has questions or concerns, to think about that, and we can discuss at the next meeting. But if we find that we need more information, we can always place it on the informal. We wanted to look at it now when there were no vacancies that we would be addressing. I know over the years it's come up now and then, and I've been very much against it and not really wanting to even discuss it. I was such a no that I didn't even want to talk about it, but then I realized that maybe my thinking was out of date, and when we looked at what a lot of communities do, that Jefferson City was a little behind the times on updating our residency requirements. And I do have the information about Roger Schwartz too, and maybe I'll make sure to forward this to the council. I think Drew might have forwarded it to us, where it says that he did not feel it is required to do a good job as director, but there are certainly benefits, and some of the reasons required were instances such as the director is not the one doing the work, he's directing other people to do it, but at the same time there were some benefits where he could use his judgment, and for example, in some marginal or surprise snow emergencies that we weren't expecting, there were times when it was nice to actually be in for certain things like that. Certainly not needed, but if it could help and be a benefit, then we definitely want to look at that. So I'll make sure the rest of the council gets that information as well, and we can discuss further then at the next meeting. But we are open, and we want to take our time with making those changes. Thanks.
Carrie, thank you. Thanks for all your hard work on this, especially your committee, because I know it started in the last council, and now it's kind of coming up to the new council here. Mr. Mihalovich.
You know, I think about this issue, and I hate to sort of be stuck in the back, but with all the different communities that are evolving their policies, but I think it more not in terms of emergencies, and clearly we need people on staff, be around, available, but to me it's a part of being a part of the community, to understanding Jeff Trend, understand the potholes, and live within the restrictions we're putting on our residents. As staff brings us issues that we're to vote on and deliberate, it is good to know that the staff themselves are subject to those. Without that, we may have to rely less on staff for having a touch and a pulse on the community. So to me, it's a part of living in the community, understanding them, live within the restrictions we ask other people to live in. So I guess I'm still of the old mindset that I prefer certain positions to be subject to this residency requirement. The three that I don't think that I put in that same category are like HR, IT, and finance. They're not bringing forth issues to us to vote on and have our citizens live by. So that's my comment.
All right, thank you, Rick and Carrie. Any other comments on 2013 number 8? Seeing none, we'll have first reading of 2013 number 9.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Prost Builders Incorporated for the Jefferson City Fire Station number 3 project.
Is that you, Matt?
That's me. As the clerk indicated, this is a construction contract with Prost Builders that build the new fire station number 3 out on Highway 179. The bid amount was $2,283,000. As you can see from the budget information in the packet, that would leave approximately $117,000 in some contingency funds for that project. It's been a long time coming. We've got the project at this point. If there's any particular items about it, I turn those over to the fire chief, obviously, Mr. Turner. But again, it's a new fire station on Highway 179. It's got 3.5 bays, I would say, living quarters, cooking area, those kind of things. And then also what's different about this station is it also has the hardened 911 center and computer backup area. So that's got a little extra something that other stations don't have. Try to answer any questions if there are any.
Go ahead, Mr. Graham.
Thank you. How many bid proposals were submitted for this project?
Let's see.
I was trying to find that in here.
It's in here.
Matt, did it come
I'm
in
hearing
under
7
budget?
over here.
There was 7, and Prost was the lowest bidder?
Yes, sir.
Did it come in under budget?
Actually, it came in right almost equal, just slightly under, about $8,000 under the estimate.
If I remember correctly, there was talk at one time about, where's Jason at? About doing an alternate with one bay, this, that, and another thing. We bid the whole thing at one time, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
One package.
Okay. Any other questions on 2013 number 9? Mr. Henry.
Matt, just for the public's sake, where is this funding coming from? Where would the funding come from for this project?
Comes from the half-cent sales tax.
Thank
Any other questions? All right, moving on. 2013 number 10. First reading, please.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri declaring certain property to be surplus and authorizing the disposal of said property.
Matt.
As indicated by the clerk, this is a bill to declare a mini excavator surplus. The purpose of that is we're using it as a trade-in to purchase a new one in our wastewater division. Actually, the actual purchase of the new one will be on the next council agenda. And I believe the trade-in value is $21,000. It's a 2004 machine. And with the purchase of the new one, which, like I said, would come next, would be just over $32,000.
Any questions for Matt on 2013-10? Okay. 2013-11. First reading, please.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri approving an amended final PUD plan for land addressed as 2118 Shot Hill Woods Drive and described as lots 95 and 96 of Shot Hill Woods subdivision, Section 4, Jefferson City, Cole County, Missouri.
Janice.
Thank you, Mayor. Many of you are aware that Oscar's Restaurant burned on the night of January 30th. That fire destroyed the interior of the building. The silver lining to that event is that they are now planning to expand, and this bill would approve the expansion of both the building and the parking lot. When completed, the new building will consist of 5,500 square feet, and they'll have a parking lot of about 55 spaces. Public hearing on this plan is scheduled for the next meeting, May 20th, and this is a PUD planned unit development plan. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Janice? Seeing none, we'll have a first reading of 2013, number 12.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri accepting and approving the final subdivision plat of Brickyard Terrace subdivision, a subdivision of the City of Jefferson, Missouri.
Janice.
Thank you, Mayor. This is another case that came before the Planning and Zoning Commission in April and consists of a final subdivision plat of Brickyard Terrace subdivision located off of Karen Drive. You may recall that in December 2012, Council approved a PUD plan for this development. There will be a multifamily development on one lot shown on this particular plan. There'll be 6 fourplexes. Also, the subdivision consists of 4 single-family residential lots. One of those houses will be torn down, and there'll be two new lots available for development. One of the lots has an existing house on it. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this final subdivision plat at their meeting in April and recommended it be approved. Access to this development will be via Karen Drive. Karen Drive is a very narrow street at the present time. It will be widened. Sufficient right-of-way will be dedicated to make that a standard subdivision street. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Janice? Okay, Janice, it's your lucky night. You also get 2013-13.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri amending Section 19401, Schedule J, Parking Prohibited, Subparagraph A, Streets and Highways of the Code of the City of Jefferson pertaining to Karen Drive located in Brickyard Terrace subdivision.
Janice.
Thank you. Many times when a new subdivision is platted, it includes streets that accommodate parking on both sides or parking on one side, or accommodate no parking on the street. When we have a street that accommodates parking only on one side or no parking, what we like to do is bring to the council, concurrent with the subdivision plat, a bill that regulates the on-street parking. And that's what Bill 13 does. It regulates the on-street parking within this new subdivision. In this particular case, parking would be allowed on the north side of Karen Drive.
Any questions for Janice? All right, first reading of 2013-14.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a grant agreement with MoDOT for public transit operating assistance.
Matt.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. As the clerk indicated, this is a MoDOT agreement between the MoDOT and the city for our transit system. It's for the state operating grant. The dollar amount is $4,983. If you were looking in the budget book, that is not what was originally budgeted for last year. I want to point that out. It's about $5,000 lower than what was expected. This grant agreement runs from last year of July 12 to June of 13 this year, so it's a little late in coming, obviously. I think we probably matched what we had in previous years in the budget, but that would have to be looked at for our future budgets, but I wanted to point that out. But basically, it's a grant agreement to obtain those funds.
Bob.
Matt, do you know why the amount is less this year? Was there an explanation for that?
I'm not certain. I'd have to research that further.
Any other questions on 2013-14? All right, seeing none, we'll move into bills pending. This is third reading of 2013-1.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Bartlett and West Incorporated to design wastewater infrastructure.
Matt?
Yeah, as the clerk indicated, an engineering agreement with Bartlett and West to be paid for with our wastewater funds. The dollar amount's $440,000. They'd be looking at 2 basins, doing some master planning in Basin 5 and 6, which is basically above the Lafayette area and the new interchange area. They'd be looking at eliminating some sanitary sewer overflows in those basins, and then eventually use that information to upsize the lines that would go through the interchange area. So once MoDOT that will be approaching us with an agreement about that, you know, we would modify this again with them. Try to answer any questions about it.
Any questions on 2013-4? I'm sorry, 2013-1. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Branch,
Aye.
Carroll,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, I have third reading of 2013-2.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Jefferson Asphalt Company for the 2013 mill and overlay project.
Matt?
Yes, the construction contract for the annual mill and overlay project. The project's a 90 calendar day contract. The bid amount is $1,005,119.17. It's a unit cost bid for that project. You might note that this year's overlay contract and the next bill, which is talking about the chip seal program, or this year and last year were both much accelerated contracts over previous, almost double what we've been spending on overlay. So we're hopefully to catch up on several streets this way.
Okay, any other questions for Matt on number 2? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Carroll,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener,
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Next, we'll have third reading of 2013-3.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement with Jefferson Asphalt Company for the 2013 chip seal project.
Matt?
Again, another construction contract with Jefferson Asphalt, kind of the companion to the previous one. The dollar amount's $115,504.80. This would be some chip seal, again a 90 calendar day contract. Majority of this works out on the east end near Algoa Militia Drive, and then also a good chunk of it's across the river on Mocaine Road, which is a low volume road as well.
Okay, any questions for Matt on 2013-3? Mr. Henry?
And Matt, again, just for the public's sake, these funds have already been allotted for these projects, or they've been already set aside for these projects, correct?
Right, I didn't mention it, but these construction contracts are coming out of the half-cent capital improvement sales tax.
Any other questions for Matt? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener,
Aye.
Branch,
Aye.
Carroll.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll have a third reading of 2013-4.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri designating properties selected by the City of Jefferson Historic Preservation Commission as historic landmarks.
Janice?
Thank you, Mayor. Pursuant to Section 8-42 of the City Code, the City of Jefferson Historic Preservation Commission is nominating these properties for, to the landmark list for 2013. 115 West Atchison, which is known historically as the Nelson C. and Gertrude A. Birch House, owned by Michael and Laura Ward. 718 East Capitol Avenue, historically known as the Watts House, that's owned by Dave and Kathy Bordner. And lastly, 728 West Main, known as the Stone House, and owned by the Conservation Federation of Missouri. Thank you.
Any comments or questions there?
How many properties have been designated now? Do you know what the total is?
I think there are about 30. They're all listed on the city's webpage. So if anyone interested in that complete list can go back. They go back several years.
And do we do 3 every year, or do we do more or less, depending?
More, it just depends on the decision of the Historic Preservation Commission. Sometimes there have been just a few, and others. I know in one year there were at least 5 nominated.
Okay.
Any other questions on the landmarks awards under 13-4? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener,
Aye.
Branch,
Aye.
Carroll,
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll move into 2013-5.
An ordinance of the City of Jefferson, Missouri, amending the 2012-2013 budget of the City of Jefferson, Missouri by recognizing revenue and appropriating additional funds within the Capital Improvement Sales Tax E Fund.
Mr. Lockwood.
Thank you, Mayor. As the clerk mentioned, this is a refund of some of the matching money that the city had contributed previously to the Missouri River Bridge pedestrian bicycle lane project. The amount is $33,314.12. Recognizes that revenue and appropriates it to complete another Greenway project.
Any questions for Bill on 2013-5? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener,
Aye.
Branch,
Aye.
Carroll,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry.
Aye.
All right, next we'll move into resolutions. First, we have Resolution 2013-4. Clerk.
A resolution authorizing a cost share with Cole County for wastewater repair.
Matt.
Yes, Mayor, the agreements with Cole County, they're doing a stormwater and street project in Hunters Run, on Hunters Run Road near the Hunters Run subdivision. The city maintains the sanitary sewers through that area, so at the same time, those mains are needing some replacements. We're going to work with them to bid some of those lines in that project. Saves us some money by not having to repair the roads when we're done. They're going to have that in their project already. The dollar amount's outside the authority of the city administrator, so we're asking to move his authority up to $50,000 on this project. It'll be bid just like our projects would be, and actually it's for some of it is for design through a consultant as well.
Okay, at this point in time, we'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2013-4.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener,
Aye.
Branch,
Aye.
Carroll,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll have reading of 2013-5. That resolution, please.
A resolution terminating the Water Enterprise Fund.
There you have it. Bill and Sheila.
This resolution would terminate the Water Enterprise Fund, which was originally used in the operation of the water system in North Jefferson City. The city stopped operating that water service in 2009, therefore the fund is no longer necessary. This resolution would terminate the fund and transfer all of the approximately $16,500 in assets to the general fund.
Any questions for Sheila on 2013-5? Seeing none at this point in time, we'll entertain a motion and a second, please.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener,
Aye.
Branch,
Aye.
Carroll,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich.
Aye.
Sheila, you're going to keep the ball. Next one is 2013-6. First reading, please. Or reading, please. I'm
A
sorry.
resolution terminating the Capital Projects Street and Public Facilities Fund.
Sheila.
This resolution would terminate the Capital Project Street and Public Facilities Fund, which had originally been used to report as part of our sales tax funds. The city stopped operating the fund in 2010, and therefore it's no longer necessary. The resolution would terminate the fund and transfer all of the approximately $1,300 in assets into sales tax F, which is our current sales tax, as part of a contingency category.
Any questions of Sheila? First of all, let's have a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Mr. Henry.
Sheila, I just had a quick question in regards to, why is it just now that these, I guess these projects have been closed for so many years? How's that just, we're just now kind of knowing that at this point?
We've just recently finished the CAFR for 2012, and as part of that process, we go back and would try and clean up some of the funds that are no longer necessary. It prevents us from having to prepare financial statements for funds that really are showing no activity.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Sheila? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener,
Aye.
Branch,
Aye.
Carroll,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll have reading of 2013-7.
A resolution transferring previously unspent sales tax money into sales tax F.
Sheila.
This resolution would terminate the sales tax B fund and the sales tax C fund and allow staff to move any remaining assets into our current sales tax F fund. There are approximately $307,000 remaining in these two funds, with approximately $283,000 of that designated for riverfront projects. All other projects in these funds were completed as promised, and the remaining funds of approximately $23,505 comes from interest on the unused funds, and as such are unassigned. This resolution would transfer $283,000 into sales tax F in the riverfront projects category, and the remaining $23,000 into sales tax F in the contingency category as unassigned.
Any questions for Sheila? At this point in time, we'll entertain a motion in a second, please.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Scrivener,
Aye.
Branch,
Aye.
Carroll,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll have Resolution 2013-8.
A resolution of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the Public Works Director or designee as City of Jefferson representative to the Capitol View Drainage District.
Matt.
I can do that, or Nate?
I think it's probably me since he's the one we're appointing. We actually have a stake in the levee district, and actually it's a combined levee and drainage district now, across the river. Roger Schwartz was our representative. With Roger being gone, we need to appoint somebody new. That task falls upon Mr. Marash, and he would like to add, or his designee, so that he can shuffle it off to someone else.
Always thinking there, Mr. Matt. 2013, any questions there? Let's have a motion, or we did that already?
Second.
Okay. All right, discussion. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Branch,
Aye.
Carroll,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we'll have reading of 2013-9.
A resolution of the City of Jefferson, Missouri authorizing the mayor's signature and submittal of the Federal Financial Report SF 425.
Janice.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a quarterly report that requires the mayor's signature. The report is from January 1st through March 31st of this year.
Any questions for Janice on 2013-9? At this point in time, we'll entertain a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Bob.
Janice, I don't remember, maybe we do this every quarter, but haven't we had a provision in the past where that could be signed without a resolution each time?
Yes, the council would have to pass an ordinance that's called an administrative delegation ordinance. And we can bring that to the council in the future. That way you don't have to authorize all the filing of all these reports. But that's basically what it takes.
And we haven't had one before, or have we?
Apparently we haven't had one. We have one for the transit reports, but we don't have one for the CDBG reports at this time.
Okay. Maybe we ought to think about bringing one of those.
Whatever that is, right, Bob? Okay. Any other questions there on 2013-9? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Carol,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener,
Aye.
Branch.
Aye.
And next, our last resolution of the evening, 2013-10.
A resolution of the City of Jefferson, Missouri designating a representative to the Mid-Missouri Solid Waste Management District.
Janice.
Thank you, Mayor. The city has a position on the Mid-Missouri Solid Waste Management District. Currently, Lauren Henry is our representative to that board, and we're asking that she be officially appointed as the city's representative.
Okay, I need a motion and a second, please.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion or questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich,
Aye.
Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener,
Aye.
Branch,
Aye.
Carol.
Aye.
Motion passes. I apologize earlier. I missed someone on number 12, Alicia Holmes. If you would please come forward, please. For the record, tell us your name and your address, and please limit your remarks to 3 minutes, and welcome.
Yes, my name is Alicia Holmes. I live at 12 Jackson Street, that's Hamilton Tower, Jefferson City. This one has to do with regarding your ideas for a transit commission, and you're talking about getting input. It might be handy if all of you rode the buses for a while, to and from work, to and from the grocery stores, to and from medical appointments, and see what it's like. You get your spouses involved too, and then you really get some input there. Okay? That's all I had.
All right, thank you very much for your input. Next, we have council and staff discussion of presentation topics. We did that a little bit earlier. Mr. Rick.
Something that I forgot to add to my prayer. Is there somewhere I can insert that? Just a comment.
Sure.
The one thing I missed in my prayer is one of our councilmen's absence
Oh,
tonight.
yes.
And I just wanted to wish Councilman Bray a fast and a full recovery.
All right, Ralph's doing well after his surgery, and he'll be back here, I'm sure, in the next 3 to 4 weeks. I don't want to pressure him, but I talked to his wife the other day, and he's doing well. And Rick, thanks for bringing that up. Any new business to bring up this evening? Any old business or unfinished business? Oh, new business, Mr. Rick.
I found it very helpful during budget discussions to walk through the schedules on the improvement tax. And since we did a lot of this juggling tonight, that schedule's all been revised. I'd kind of like to have an updated schedule of all the letters and how much money are in each of those accounts now. And then, you know, also we always ask the question, like on the fire station 3, we already know it's right in there that's being bid or that's in the process. And I know these chip and seal projects and all that are right in there. And so I'm going to kind of keep a tally of how we're progressing down that, or with staff assistance. So I'm requesting that we get an updated version of that.
Will do.
Okay. Let's see here. Any other new business under 21?
I have an announcement.
We'll get to that here in just a sec. Well, actually, we're there now. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
It
ahead.
should be on there. I always seem to have an announcement, don't I? I noticed today was the ceremony for the 100th anniversary of the groundbreaking of the Capitol, which I couldn't stay till the end, but I wanted to say that our own mayor was there, along with the governor and some others, to make a brief presentation. But I wanted to ask, because I know they said afterwards they were going to serve the state dessert, and I'm so sorry I missed it, but what is the state dessert?
I'm on a diet. I couldn't tell you.
I didn't know we had one. Now I'm so disappointed that I
didn't know we had a
missed it.
state diet, but Darla says we do.
Well, a lot of help you are. But anyway, thank you for making a presentation. And
glad
they're
to
going to
do
have
it.
other events, I believe, throughout the year marking the 100th anniversary, which is really neat. Thank you.
Coming up along those lines here in the next day or so. Hold on just a second, Ken. Coming up here in the next day or so here at State Capitol, one thing that I did talk about today was the roughly $50 million that our state lawmakers are looks like they're possibly willing to put into our Capitol, which is 100 years old. And after 100 years old, obviously it could use a little tuck pointing and whatnot, to say the least, but also is a $38 million state building to be hopefully placed at MSP. And as you all well know, we've been talking about MSP and what's next in its future for some time, since the prisoners moved out in the early 2000s, right? So with all that, it was very nice to be able to talk to the governor today, leadership of the Senate and of the House, and obviously to represent our city. Ken.
I'm going to sound so unimportant after that. It's the ice cream cone is the official state dessert because that was invented at the World's Fair in 1904 in St. Louis.
Cool.
So that's the state dessert.
I've got dibs on Ken at the next trivia night. Okay, next, moving on to any other unfinished business. 23, need a motion to approve our minutes, which you've already done. Or do you actually need an actual motion too? Okay, need a motion and a second. I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Okay, discussion. All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next, pursuant to subsection 610.021, we could go into closed session to discuss legal actions, and that is .021.1 and or real estate, or I shouldn't say and real estate, which is subsection .2. Any questions on that? Seeing none, roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Need a motion and a second, please.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Branch,
Aye.
Carroll,
Aye.
Graham,
Aye.
Henry,
Aye.
Hussey,
Aye.
Mahalovich, Prather,
Aye.
Schulte,
Aye.
Scrivener.
Aye.
Thank you very much and drive safe.